Welcome to another episode of the Hospitality Reputation Marketing Podcast. My name is Adele Gutman, and I'm your host. And I have the great pleasure of welcoming today Carlo Carroccia. He is the general manager of the French Quarter Inn here in Charleston. And I'm going to tell you why that is so special. The French Quarter Inn has been named the #1 hotel in the entire United States of America 2 years in a row on TripAdvisor. I don't know how many hotels there must be in the entire United States of America, but it's a lot. And there are a lot of great hotels out there. So for one hotel to have the highest guest satisfaction of all of those hotels, not 1 but 2 years in a row on TripAdvisor, it's a phenomenon. And I really wanted to talk to Carlo and have him share with us, what kind of magic is happening over there in Charleston. Welcome, Carlo.
Thank you so much for having me, Adele. That's a heck of an introduction. Thank you for that. We're super blessed for a lot of things that go in our favor to be able to earn such rankings. And I'm happy to share my thoughts.
So I understand you've been with the French Quarter Inn now for about 4 years. Is that right?
That's right. I had moved just about 4 years ago from Washington, D.C., down here to Charleston. I grew up outside of Atlantic City in New Jersey, so I like to joke with people that I'm making my way down the coast from north to south with different journeys along the way. And I don't have to tell you, there is something in the water here in Charleston that is so infectious in just the most positive way possible. And I could sense that when I was interviewing and becoming a part of the team here. And I've been extremely validated by Charleston culture and all kinds of community, the business community, all the different entities working together.
It's so true. There is something in the water. That's a perfect way of describing it, because on TripAdvisor this year, 4 of the top 25 restaurants in the country are right here in Charleston. So we are very fortunate. I too am like you. I came from New York, and I lived in New Jersey for a little while. My dog Baxter is from Jersey City,
Uh-huh.
And yes, so there are a lot of us and a lot of halfbacks who went all the way to Florida and came halfway back. So I'm definitely enjoying being in such an amazing service culture. And I feel like the reason that to have a hotspot of guest satisfaction comes a lot of the time when you go and experience something great around you, then those ideas, you bring all the ideas of the places that you see around you and that you experience around you, and you put them to work. But you have done that to the 9th degree. So let's talk about what is it that you think? Do you think that's the magic sauce to making your hotel so highly rated? It is a beautiful hotel, but there are many beautiful hotels. So what's the real secret sauce?
A really great question. And I think to start, I would be remiss to say that there weren't a lot of people who made the success of French Quarter Inn. And my predecessors and the team, even before I came, certainly had a wonderful track record. I bring that up because to me, when I started my career working at Mandarin Oriental Hotel Group and then moving here, one of the big things that Mandarin Oriental instilled with me was a sense of humility, that from a business side that really was ingrained with me and that matched how I feel personally as well. And it's very important in business to keep that. People have hundreds and thousands of choices of opportunities for lodging, for restaurants, for activities, for all of these things. There are certain establishments out there, and they tend to be more in the luxury side, that give an air of superiority and a sense of, you as the guest need to be grateful for the establishment for letting you in. And to me, that is a giant no-no. You as the guest, you have the power. We're humbled by you that you chose us. And everything that you do along that journey, we're grateful for it. And I think that's a big part of where that starts. And a lot of that mentality is a very Charlestonian, you know, Southern hospitality feel. That's certainly a term that's thrown around a lot, but I think it comes to being humble and being grateful for who you have in your presence, and showing care and concern for those people who are with you, whether they're friends, whether it's in a business relationship like a hotel. And that's really a start for us, is to be grateful for the guests that we have and work hard to continue to earn their trust at every step of the guest journey.
You know what you say, it sounds as though it might be obvious, but actually, it's so important because it's so easy when you have a grand luxury hotel and you get compliments every day to think, we're this, we are that, we're this, we're that. But actually, in hospitality, it's about you. It's about you, the guests who come in, and how can I serve you, and how can I be helpful to you, and how can I make you happy? And every individual should feel like the most important VIP. Um, if you're able to welcome guests without judging them because of what they're wearing or how their hair is or what their accent is or anything else. And if you can just look into the eyes of every guest and say, I appreciate you, with your eyes, not necessarily with your words. Well, you can do it with your words. It's great to do it with your words in certain ways. Like it's the difference between saying no problem and it's my pleasure, you know? If it truly brings joy to your team because you've hired a kind of a team that likes to bring happiness and joy and lighten the hearts of everybody who steps into the hotel. You don't have to even teach them, you must say this instead of that, because it'll come from their heart. They'll say it's my pleasure because they believe that and they feel that. And guests, I find they really respond to genuine hospitality. We've had I've been fortunate to work with a company that sometimes only one, sometimes two, sometimes three of the top hotels on the top 25 list for the United States of America on TripAdvisor. So I know it takes also a real daily practice, wouldn't you say? How do you fit kindness, compassion, and generosity and humility? How do you fit that into the daily conversation so that it stays in the forefront of your staff's minds?
The first thing, and the easiest way to answer that is, you have to talk about what you're trying to do. You can't just assume that everyone, even if they've been here for multiple years, you have to talk about importance and talk about why we do the things that we do. One of my favorite business authors is Simon Sinek, and he has a lot of great books. And his probably most powerful one is that idea of start with why. Why do we do what we do? And here at French Quarter Inn, and then at our sister property, the Spectator Hotel, we we do our part in the world by making people feel that they're in a place where they can be the best version of themselves, and that they can feel true comforts and luxury in a very friendly, genuine, and approachable way. Um, it's very much a pay it forward type of thing. If we're helping guests be the best version of themselves, that's our small little role in the world. If we can make some profit off it, that's great too. Um, but what is that guest going to do, you know, for their family? What are they going to do in their job where they influence other people? We have the ability to do that, whether they're here for one night, for 6 nights, or however long that is. So we try to start with that and execute our practices from there.
It's no doubt Simon Sinek has it right when he says that employees are people, and everybody feels more excited, more enthusiastic, more passionate, more ready to go the extra mile when they feel that they have a purpose that is far beyond just being a business that makes money. And if you know that, as we should all know in the hospitality business, that the world is a stressful place and there's a lot of tension. Not everything goes perfect in life, but let every guest who comes into our hotel feel that a moment of relaxation where suddenly they are the center of attention, they are the VIP, and we're going to do everything that we can to give them a little joy, something to look forward to every year when they come back, or every season when they come back, and connect with the people they love. These are the moments in life that you treasure forever. When you connect with your family, your spouse, even your business associates. That's a meaningful connection as well. That can make a powerful impact. Some of my favorite memories are also from business meetings, because our work is our life, and our family is our life, and our friends are our life, and we create those beautiful environments. Oh, it reminds me. You probably are too young to remember there was an island. What was that island paradise with Tattoo and Ricardo Montalban, that television show? And he used to say that beautiful places make beautiful feelings, and beautiful places do, but also it's really the people that are making the beautiful feelings.
I could not agree with you more on your last statement there. Um, we do have very nice amenities. We have a beautiful building and design and all of these things. But as you mentioned at the beginning of this, a lot of other places do too. And I do think what sets us apart is our people, and the fact that they care. For us, it's about creating that approachable luxury, that very upscale Southern home away from home. Um, but you don't have to be a luxury hotel to be able to have that type of an impact. If you know what's unique about your property or your staff or your location, or sometimes a combination of those things, it doesn't matter if you're situated off I-95 and it's the loudest thing there. But if you lean into what makes you unique and you're authentic about who you are, people who want whatever that is will seek you out for it. Um, I tell this to our team all the time. We are not um, a hotel for everybody. We don't have a spa. We don't have a pool. We don't have a rooftop bar and lounge. And you know what? That's okay. That's not who we are. That's not what we focus on and prioritize on. And for guests who are looking for those things, there are a ton of other great options for that. So we just really try to put out there what we're really excelling in and what we're focusing on. I try to take that approach in how we respond to reviews, both online that are posted publicly and then for our internal guest feedback surveys as well, right? I didn't like the view from the room at French Quarter Inn. I'm so sorry that that was not the case. Unfortunately, we're not known for our views, right? If you don't have good views, don't try to say that you have good views, right? Just be honest with what you're going to do. And I found for these properties that's made a really positive impact.
It's so true. The Casablanca Hotel, where I had my office for many, many years, was the #1 hotel in New York on TripAdvisor year after year after year after year. You know what? We would literally say, on this room type, no view, no bath, and we would show a picture of the window facing the courtyard, the brick courtyard where you can see a fire escape. And because, if that's not the right thing for you, choose a different room. Or, we don't want you to be unhappy with us. We'd rather you were happy at another hotel than be unhappy with us. So I think being authentic really contributes immensely to high guest satisfaction. And then because you have that incredible position on TripAdvisor with all those glowing reviews, you're a magnet for so many people who want to visit Charleston. They say, you know what, it may not have this or that, but what I always say, I'm going to use this spot, but I never actually get around to it. So why don't I just book this marvelous place where everybody loves it so much and we are sure we're going to get, and if we decide to go to a spot, I bet that concierge knows where to send me to a spot. Right?
Absolutely.
Authenticity is definitely one of the keys to that success that you're having. I'm sure of that. So if I bumped into one of your employees on the street one day, because I want to go back a little bit to what you were saying about that vision, sharing that vision with the team. If I bumped into a dishwasher or a busboy, what do you think that they would say to me about where they work? If I asked them what they work, what would they, in a minute, first thing they would say about French Quarter?
I think they would say that it is a lot of pressure. I'd be remiss to say that we don't hold ourselves to high standards as individuals and then among each other as peers and teammates as well. But that each team member knows that if I'm at the front desk, that my counterparts in housekeeping and my counterparts in maintenance and my counterparts in food and beverage all just want to do the best that they can each day. And that, we may not succeed on a certain day for a variety of reasons, but it's not because of people who don't want it, right? And I think that's a big difference. If you make a mistake for the right reasons, I'd rather that than get a positive results done with bad or incorrect intentions as well.
Interesting.
And I think that's a core thing of what we're striving for, that each day we try to be as friendly as we can to each other as colleagues and of course to the guests. We try to have the highest attention to detail possible for every little thing. A lot of people talk about, well, focus on the small details. I don't want to say that, because sometimes a small detail really is a small detail and you don't need to overemphasize it. But if you are alert for those things, 5 or 6 small details, you can connect the dots and that can give you a big picture perspective of a guest. So it's important to be alert for those things.
Can you give me an example of what you mean? What are you alert for?
Sure. So I think a good example of that is a guest could make in their journey a small comment to the person who delivers them breakfast in the morning, a small comment to the front desk when they're going out for the day, and a small comment to the valet attendant who gives them their car. If those three team members aren't all connecting together individually, that one comment that that person said to that team member may not seem like a big deal. But if all three of those people do connect, and whether that comment was the same thing or it's a different thing, you get a better sense of how the guest is doing. Um, and that's kind of what I mean by not pushing that to the side, and checking in with your other teammates about, I had this interaction with the guest in 301. What did you have today? Did you have any interaction with them? And the more you do that, the 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 better information you have to go off of, and try to keep guests happy or fix something as well. We don't know what the guest expectation is. Even if they tell us, they may not tell us everything. Um, it's not really the guest's job to tell us how to make them happy. It's our job to figure out how to do that. And we have to be focused and attentive. And going back to what I said before, we have to care enough to ask the questions, right? Um,
Absolutely.
it sounds so simple. How are you enjoying your stay so far? Is there anything that we can do that's better? If there's something that we can do better, 9 out of 10 guests are going to tell you if you ask them, right? Is there anything you'd like more of? If we're not meeting it, they're going to let you know. So we have to be able to do that.
Absolutely. I know that that checking in with the guest is what I always call a temperature check. So if I was getting up to go get a cup of cappuccino in the afternoon, every time I would pass a guest, and it wouldn't just be me, by the way, this is amplified for every other person in the hotel, but me, just like every other employee, I would look everybody in the eye, smile, and say, "Hi, how are you doing? Do you have everything you need?" And mostly they said, No, no, everything's great, wonderful, thank you." And sometimes they'd stop to chat just about, "Oh, are you the owner?" It's the best compliment when somebody thinks you're the owner, because it means that you give off a feeling like you're in my home, and I welcome you. Don't you feel that way? But sometimes they will really share something, and you then have an opportunity not only to take care of the problem, but be a hospitality hero for them, and really take something that was a small issue, and now it's a big service opportunity. And I just wonder how, you were saying that that person could have said some small thing to three different people. Do you have some sort of a communication process in place at the hotel where people can share?
We do. Um, we have different pieces of technology that, there are integrated systems that interface, with our property management system, so that you can have guest profile notes associated with their reservation, and all of those things as well. We certainly do have the benefit, being a smaller hotel with 50 guest rooms here at French Quarter Inn, and a smaller footprint, that it is easier to have those face-to-face conversations. And I'm certainly as guilty of it as anybody in 2021. Send an email, send a calendar invite, right? Sometimes you got to get yourself out of the chair, and go talk to someone. And that is a little bit easier for us in a smaller property. But the nuances of how, internally you can communicate just by going to talk to someone, and asking questions. There is no substitute for that. So certainly those online tools and technologies help. But if it's something really important, pick up the phone and call, go from your office to the other part of the hotel to get insight or to share insight based on what you know.
Yeah, it is easier with a boutique hotel, but you know what? I was listening to Glenn Hausman and Anthony Melcori uh, recently, and they were talking to they were talking to the general manager, or I think it was the general manager of the Dan Hotel, or no, maybe the VP or CEO of the Dan Hotel Group in Israel, and they were talking about someone who said it doesn't matter the size of the hotel, every hotel can be run like a boutique hotel if you care enough about every single individual. For their experience should be like at a boutique hotel, no matter how many rooms you have. And I loved that comment. Also, getting back to something you said, Sally Beck, who's the general manager of the Royal Lancaster in London, she had a tremendous breakthrough with TripAdvisor, going from number 272, I think, to number 14 on TripAdvisor in London, which is amazing, out of like 1,100 and something hotels. And she said what was really important for her was making sure that there was no fear in the building. And I think you were alluding to that, and I wanted to get back to that just a little bit, because you said that if something went wrong, that isn't a problem. That isn't a problem, as long as it was done with good intention. And so would you elaborate a little bit about that?
Certainly, and it's not a unique or original concept, and one you hear a lot in sports. In sports, you'll hear the idea of trust the process, right? If you game plan and you practice, there are going to be factors out of your control sometimes. But if you're doing things the right way for those right reasons, a lot more often than not, the result is going to be what you want it to be. So I try to lead and inspire this team here to focus on that the goal isn't to be the number one hotel on TripAdvisor. The goal is to be the best that we can be and to make guests happy. And if we do that, those kind of things will happen. And if they don't, that's okay, because that's not our goal. It's a wonderful thing to have. We're very grateful for that, and it is certainly wonderful for our business. But if you focus on the important things in terms of your why, going back to to Simon Sinek there, the rest is going to follow. And I'm very grateful that we have a team that gets that. We have a team that, just because I'm the GM, if I say something dumb, they're going to respectfully call me out on it. If I say something that's thinking too short-sighted or not having the proper nuance of it, we have that ability to say, well, let's really dig deep into this. And very grateful to have team members who think that way.
Well, you created an environment.
Yes. So French Quarter Inn, as well as our sister property, the Spectator Hotel, which is another luxury boutique hotel, is part of Charleston Hotels. And we're a growing management company of just more than about 45 properties across the country. And I think a lot of the things that I'm saying about French Quarter Inn really mirrors what Charlestown is trying to do, of letting the unique features of each hotel and each hotel staff be the shining star. And we have a really good balance of what are things that are needing to be uniform and consistent for all 45 properties across the portfolio, versus others that say, well, what works for French Quarter Inn in Charleston may not work for the Collector Inn and Gardens in St. Augustine, Florida, and may work for the Deer Path Inn outside of Chicago, Illinois, but doesn't work for our property, which is a university property in Clemson, South Carolina, Abernathy. So they have a really good balance of knowing, don't have an SOP just for having an SOP, right? Have things that make sense, that allow each property and its team to live to their full potential. And that's been really great for me. And one of the reasons I really wanted to be a part of French Quarter Inn and the Spectator is because that was very apparent from the corporate leadership, and our ownership group was very much aligned with that as well, that everyone has their role to play. Let's let each important piece of the puzzle here have everything they need to do the best that they can, all working together, and we'll do great things if we can do that.
I definitely wanted you to have a chance to talk a little bit about the Charleston hotels, because it is an amazing company. There is no question about it. Absolutely extraordinary results in guest satisfaction. And there are some management companies who think that good is good enough. And there's really no need to strive for 95, 96%, whatever kind of guest satisfaction rating you can have. I'm glad that you had a chance to talk about that, and I hope to speak to other people in your company as well, because I'd love to hear more about all this. So if someone wanted to reach out regarding staying at the French Quarter Inn or any of the other wonderful Charlestown hotels, and for us in the industry who may be listening to this, that I'm sure you're going to hook us up with a great industry rate, how can they reach you?
So absolutely, we're all about spreading the word. If you want to come on a weekend in April or October, which is the busiest time of year anywhere in the United States to book a room, I'm still going to offer you a great rate, but it's going to be a little bit higher than you'd like, but that's okay. We're still gonna make it happen. But there's, I don't have to tell you, Adele, that the hospitality community is so connected and so small in such a fun and positive way. Oh, you knew the revenue manager here. This person was, it's so connected across times that I'm always happy to give favors and those kind of things, because knowing that, going back to what we said before about that kind of pay it forward mentality, right? We all need to lean on each other, especially in COVID times, that it can't be about, I have to be successful for this hotel at the expense of another one, but let's all rise together. The adage of a rising tide raises all ships, I think is big in the hospitality industry. It's very clear in the Charleston hospitality community. I think some of your bigger cities have trouble with that a little bit. It can be a little more competitive, but anytime is a good time for a vacation. And if you need a note on hotel stationery to say that you can't go to work this day, that you have to come speak business strategy with Carlo in Charleston, I'll put it on hotel stationery. I'll sign a big goofy signature all across the front, and we got it covered.
How wonderful. Carlo, it has been an absolute pleasure to chat with you. It's inspiring stuff, and I thank you for your time, and I hope perhaps we'll have a chance to speak again, or to any of your other associates at your great company. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and I hope you like and subscribe and share this content with your friends. It's the Hospitality Reputation Marketing Podcast. Get great reviews. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Del.